Welcome back to another episode of the Passport to Possibility podcast. I'm Noelle, and I'm really glad you're here with me today. When most people think about travel, it's usually something fun, a vacation to Disneyland, a Caribbean cruise, an all-inclusive resort, or finally checking off that bucket list destination. But sometimes travel isn't about a getaway at all. Sometimes life just takes you somewhere because you need to be there, and that's exactly the kind of trip my family had recently. As a travel advisor, I spend a lot of time researching hotels and planning trips for my clients. But this time, I was the one traveling for a serious reason. Our dog needed a series of treatments at a veterinary hospital, and we needed to find a place to stay nearby. My priorities completely shifted. Instead of looking for a resort with a pool or a room with a great view, I needed a hotel within minutes of the hospital, somewhere they would accept pets, and most importantly, a place where we all feel comfortable during a stressful week. While I was comparing options, I came across TownePlace Suites in Campbell, California. On the website, I noticed there was a weight limit for dogs. Now, our dog is a Labrador Husky mix, just over 50 pounds, and a little fun fact, he's missing part of one of his front legs. He was born that way, but it's never slowed him down, and he is the sweetest dog you'll ever meet. Since this is exactly what I do for my clients, I picked up the phone and I called the hotel myself. I explained our situation, asked how strict they were about the weight limit, and the woman I spoke with on the phone was so kind and told me their main concern was that dogs are well behaved. She even mentioned they'd had a St. Bernard stay there before, so I knew our dog wouldn't be a problem. That conversation gave me the confidence to move forward with booking the reservation. One thing that really stood out to me about staying at TownePlace Suites in Campbell was just how convenient and welcoming the area around the hotel felt. Right next door is a neighborhood park with basketball courts and open green space. And even though we weren't out shooting hoops on this trip, it was nice to have that little slice of community right outside our door. I'd seen local families out in the mornings, kids practicing free throws, and people walking their dogs or jogging along the path. That simple everyday activity added a sense of normalcy to our stay, which meant a lot during such a stressful time. And then, just a short walk or drive from the hotel, you have the Prune Yard. If you're not familiar, the Prune Yard is this iconic shopping and dining center that's been part of Campbell for decades. It has a little bit of everything: boutique shops, restaurants, a movie theater, and even a few outdoor spaces where you can just sit and people watch. It's the kind of place where you can grab a coffee in the morning, browse around, or pick up dinner on your way back to the hotel. I made a note of several restaurants and cafes for when we go back for a happier reason. And I really appreciated how easy it was to get there, even if you're just stepping out for a mental break. The neighborhood itself felt safe and relaxed. There are tree-lined streets, lots of sidewalks, and everything you need is close by. Grocery stores, pharmacies, even a couple pet stores if you realize you forgot something for your furry travel companion. All these details and being able to walk to a park, having great food and shopping nearby, and feeling like you're in a real neighborhood instead of just commercial hotel district made a huge difference in our experience. And it is right next to the freeway. But that's okay. It wasn't about finding a hotel with a bunch of vacation perks. Our dog's treatments lasted all day, and we needed to be nearby in case anything came up. And I knew after each session he would need to rest and recover, and there was no way he'd be up for going out or taking long walks. Having a comfortable, extended stay hotel so close to the hospital made all the difference, no matter how close to the freeway it was. Now, we didn't immediately head out to explore or eat after checking in. Our main focus was on our dog and making sure we had everything we needed to support him during his treatments. Having a kitchenette and space to keep food in the room meant we could take care of our meals easily, and when we got back at night, tired and just needing something simple. Most of our days were built around our dog's treatment schedule, and while he was at the hospital, we had several hours to fill, but we always made sure we stayed close by. And that's another reason the extended stay hotel worked so well. We could relax in the room, I could catch up on work, or simply just decompress without feeling like we were stuck in a typical hotel room, pacing the room. One thing we really appreciated was the complimentary breakfast each morning. The menu changed, a little each day. Sometimes it was bacon or sausage, sometimes mini spinach quiches, which were really good, by the way, eggs, oatmeal, fruit, cereal, coffee, juices. It was nothing fancy, but it gave us a good start before heading to the hospital each morning, and it meant one less thing to worry about. After our dog's treatments, our priority was always to get him back to the hotel so he could rest. Because the hospital was so close, there was no stress about a long drive, and our dog could get comfortable as soon as possible. And that was a huge, huge relief for us, and a huge concern, because he's never been put in that kind of environment before. Even though this wasn't a vacation, I couldn't help but notice how welcoming Campbell felt, especially if you're a dog lover. Everywhere we looked, people were out walking their dogs on the sidewalk, whether, in downtown or at the parks or along the local trails. It made the area feel like home, even though we were there for a tough reason. And on days when I needed a little bit of a break or just wanted some fresh air, I discovered the Los Gatos Creek Trail right behind our hotel. I had no idea that it was 14 miles long. I only got 4 miles in, but if I would have kept going, I would have ended up in Los Gatos. The trail is beautifully maintained, and it was the perfect spot to clear my head and reset before heading back to focus on our dog. We also drove around and spent some time, around downtown Campbell. The historic water tower is the first thing you notice, and the tree-lined streets, local shops, and laid-back vibes make you want to slow down and just stay for a while. I even spotted a bunch of restaurants and coffee shops that I'd love to try next time, hopefully under happier circumstances. Another thing I loved was Campbell's location. It's just a few minutes from San Jose, close to Los Gatos, and a short drive from so many great attractions. In fact, the week before our dog's treatments, we had to bring him down for a CT scan. And we knew we'd have several hours to wait, so instead of just sitting around, we took the opportunity to visit the Winchester Mystery House. It ended up being a great way to spend the time, and it reminded me that even when you're traveling for something serious, you can still experience a destination if you plan ahead. Campbell makes a great home base, whether you're visiting for a vacation, a business trip, or even medical appointments. Now let me talk a little bit more about Campbell itself, because it really surprised me in the best way. Campbell is one of those towns that manages to feel both vibrant and cozy at the same time. It has a real sense of community. On Saturday mornings, we saw families heading to the farmers market in downtown Campbell. There was a great one with the local produce, artisan breads, flowers, and all sorts of treats. Even on weekdays, there's a gentle energy about the place. People know each other. You see regulars at the coffee shops, and you get the feeling that if you lived here, you'd quickly become part of the rhythm. There's also a lot of history tucked into Campbell. The downtown area has buildings from the late 1800s and early 1900s, and you can spot plaques and markers explaining the town's origins as an orchard and canning hub. The water tower, which I mentioned earlier, is an iconic symbol. It rises above the downtown and is visible from almost everywhere, giving you a sense of place and continuity. There are also some wonderful parks. John D. Morgan Park is a favorite for locals with walking paths, play areas, and a lot of open space. As far as food goes, even though we didn't eat out this trip, I made a mental note for a few places for next time. There's a vibrant food scene with everything from casual taquerias to farm-to-table restaurants. I saw a ramen spot, a little French cafe, and even some outdoor patios that are dog-friendly. That's something I always notice because traveling with dogs makes me appreciate communities that generally welcome pets. Even the breweries and wine bars had water bowls out front. Now, let's talk about the real benefits of staying at an extended stay hotel. I know for a lot of people, the first instinct is to look at price or brand, but there are times when the features of an extended stay property truly matter. For us, having a kitchenette meant we could prepare simple meals, which was both a money saver and a comfort. When you're dealing with the stress of daily medical treatments, being able to control your food and routine really helps. The full-size fridge, the microwave, even just having plates and utensils, it made the hotel feel like a little apartment. Another huge benefit was the extra space. Standard hotel rooms can feel cramped, especially when you're there for more than a night or two and you have a pet or family member with you. Our room had a little sitting area and a desk, so we weren't tripping over each other or our stuff. It had full kitchenette, living room space, a little desk, like I said, a kitchen table, 2-bedroom suite, a regular bathroom, lots of space, and having a space to spread out, to read, work, or just watch TV helped us feel less like we were living out of suitcases. And then there are the practical perks. On-site laundry, a fitness room if you need it, and staff who are used to longer-term guests. The vibe is just different. People staying at an extended stay hotels are often there for work assignments, family visits, relocations, or like us, medical reasons. There's a quiet respect for your privacy, but also a sense of community if you want it. We met a few other guests walking their dogs in the halls or outside, and there's a subtle feeling when you're all navigating life away from home for a while. I also want to mention safety and peace of mind. Knowing we were minutes from the vet in a place where we could easily get our dog in and out, and with caring staff at the front desk, made a huge difference for us. In stressful situations, those little reassurances matter. This experience made me realize just how important it is to match your hotel choice to the real purpose of your trip. Sometimes the most important features aren't the flashy ones, they're the practical things that make a tough week just a little bit easier. If you're staying somewhere for several nights, dealing with medical appointments, or traveling with a pet, an extended stay hotel can make all the difference. The extra space, a way to prepare simple meals, laundry facilities, and that feeling of home, it all adds up. Sometimes the best decisions aren't the most exciting, they're the practical ones. And as someone who helps people plan trips, I think that's important to remember. Every trip is different, and the best hotel isn't always the fanciest one. It's the one that supports why you're there in the first place. So, if you're ever in a situation where you need to travel for something other than a vacation, maybe you're visiting family for an extended time, moving for work, or like us, taking care of a furry family member, don't overlook the value of an extended stay hotel. It might not be glamorous, but it can make your trip so much smoother. If you've ever stayed in an extended stay hotel, I'd love to hear how it went and whether it changed the way you travel. And if you're planning a trip and aren't sure what kind of accommodations make the most sense, let me know. I'd love to help you figure it out. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Until next time, take care, and remember, sometimes the plan starts smaller than you think. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you'd share it with a friend or post it on social media and tag me. Just search for Mini Travel Adventures, the number 4 US. That's MINI Travel Adventures, the number 4 US, so I can thank you and hear which episodes you're enjoying. Until next time, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon on the next episode.